So we're a week and a half now into Call of Duty Black Ops 4, and in the time already the game has been out, we've talked about some of the weapons you should get right off the bat, some of the best classes you can do with those lower tier weapons. We've talked about some of the underrated weapons of Call of Duty Black Ops 4, but we've yet to really talk about what I think is, in my books, my favorite class setups in the game overall. Not necessarily limited to any criteria, but instead some of the class setups that I've just been having a tremendous amount of fun with the weapons that are actually, I don't know if I'd go all the way to say main meta, but they are stuff that isn't something that is a low level. They aren't anything that is underrated. They're weapons that are going to do well, and as such I wanted to share with you guys today 3 classes, about 2 rifles and 1 off the beaten path a little bit of a sniper class as well. 3 of the best classes that I've been using and having a tremendous amount of fun with and have been absolutely shredding with as well. So in this video we'll be breaking down those 3 classes and hopefully you can pull something decent out of it. And if you guys do, of course, let me know your thoughts in the comments, what you end up doing with these classes, how you go in game, what your score ends up being, whatever it is. But regardless, let's jump right into it. So first and foremost, let's start out with what I think is probably my favorite class setup in all of Black Ops 4 so far, that being a class for the Maddox RFB. Now this is the final assault rifle you end up getting. For me, it was one that I perma unlocked. I had a token from the beta, and also I think that I used it on the Vapor and the Maddox. Whenever I reached first Prestige, I saved mine until then, so I unlocked 2 things at the start of Prestige 1. But the Maddox RFB is an insanely good all-around rifle. It can do well at range, you can manage the recoil rather easily, and it's something that close quarters still will shred. So you might even beat out a lot of the SMGs close quarters with this weapon and this class setup in particular. Now for this, we're gonna run 4 attachments, 1 reticle, 3 actual attachments, and it's gonna be a more so rounded class setup here with this between attachments and perks. We've recently talked about stacking attachments and really maxing out your weapon, but this one is more so all around. So for the attachments, we're gonna end up running the optic of an ELO sight, we're gonna end up running fast mag, we're gonna end up running quick draw, and also stock. So fast mag is going to allow us to, of course, reload faster. There is the option of putting on fast mags too, which allows for faster reload and every second mag auto reloads, which I played around a little bit with whenever I was going for gold on the Maddox, in which you have to use 6 attachments and no perks or anything else. And that was one that I had attached at the time. It was good to use, but I don't know if I would necessarily say it's a crutch thing that you really need to use. It's just more so there if you want to, but I still get away with just using regular fast mags. Quick draw allows you to, of course, improve your aiming speed, and then also there is a quick draw 2 available also, but again, I haven't really played around with this one too much seriously, but it'll maximize your aiming speed and increase peripheral vision when looking down sight, so increasing that field of view. So that's of course nice, but it's also something you have to have a really snappy finger and snappy aim if you're going to do that, because you can see a little bit more in your peripheries, but it doesn't mean you're going to be able to aim faster when you're already aimed down sight. And then stock, of course, will allow us to increase our movement speed while aiming down sight, and this is absolutely crucial. For a game that is right now very inconsistent in terms of connection, sometimes the only factor between life and death in a gunfight is who has your gun up first and who has more precise aim right off the bat, which sometimes that isn't even enough, but for the majority of the time, having your gun up and ready to go, already aimed down sight and being able to move at regular speed, absolutely crucial. Now, along with this, we also run a gear piece of the acoustic sensor. This has recently been my favorite piece of equipment. As you guys may or may not know, I was a huge fan of the stim shot way back in early release and also the beta. It's since been tuned down a little bit, and it's nice now to be able to heal a little bit quicker, but it also is something that the acoustic sensor, I think, offers way more advantages than that of just healing a little faster and more frequently. So this will allow you to hear enemy movement better, and if you use a headset, that's massive and something you definitely pick up on. But another added bonus that really isn't advertised all that much is the acoustic sensor also allows you to have that 6th sense perk on the minimap. Very similar to what we had in Black Ops 3, where you'll see on your minimap an indicator of where somebody's gonna be, and that is the direction in which the acoustic sensor picks them up. So you're gonna have a huge leg up on the enemy if they're not using dead silence, because it can pick up, if I'm not mistaken, audio from 30 meters away in game, which is quite a distance. So whether or not you're behind a wall or you're out in the open, you're still gonna have a huge advantage on knowing where somebody is, and that information can be very powerful. Now, along with this, we also run Scavenger, Gung Ho, and Dead Silence. Scavenger, obviously, for more ammunition. Dead Silence, obviously, to stay quiet and off the radar. And with acoustic sensor, if you're trying to really gauge the sound of the entire battlefield, having your own footsteps dulled is absolutely important. Gung Ho is actually one that I've been recently playing around with, where you can fire your weapon and use equipment while sprinting, and you also recover from sprint faster, but also can move move at full speed while reloading. This just keeps that run and gun mentality up and really a viable option. Now the second class setup we're going to jump into here is one dealing with the vapr-xkg or vapr-xkg. Now this was again that other rifle that I ended up perma unlocking, and I had a ton of fun with it. It is another manageable one at range, not necessarily as manageable per se at long range compared to maybe the Maddox, but up close quarters as well, it still can shred through enemies. Now, pay no mind to if I pull out a launcher in this gameplay that you're watching. I've been switching on and off between a class with the launcher and also one without, because I'm going for challenges and gold camo on the launchers so that I can get that one out of the way early on, and I don't really have to put myself through the stress of it while going for dark matter later on. But with the Vapor, we end up again running one optic and 3 attachments. And if you don't want to use a launcher, which I don't really necessarily recommend because it's only used for score streaks in my books, I'd run 3 perks as well. So the optic we're going to be running on this here again is the Elo sight. As with what we saw in the Maddox, I just really like the Elo sight compared to the Reflex. I don't like the extra added ring around the upper portion. It's just more so a free form and floating red dot sight and doesn't really offer any hindrance in my view. So I'll take that one any day. The long barrel is something in which I use for increased damage fall off ranges. The range for the Vapor is pretty solid, but at range it can feel like it tails off quite a bit, so having that damage extended ever so slightly is absolutely crucial. Now stock again is one that we use for improved movement speed while aiming, and if you really want to get into it, stock 2 will allow you to have the ability to maintain aim while jumping, landing, and moving to go prone. So jump shotting as well as drop shotting are huge factors that can help win a gunfight, and with stock 2 that'll allow you to do that, but that's something that I don't necessarily run. I don't need stock 2, it's nice, but I definitely take fast mags here in the approach that I take it at because it's a run and gun class setup for me more so, and something that I can hold down perimeters but still always on the move. Fast mags, of course, giving us that ability to reload faster. Now as for the gear, it is in line with the last class setup, that being the acoustic sensor. We can hear and then get that visual cue on our minimap if we're playing core. If somebody is around us, then we also run scavenger, dead silence, and again, if we're not running the Helion Salvo, the launcher, I'd probably run Gung Ho again on this as well. So very similar in build and characteristics, but the weapons themselves are slightly tailored for different circumstances. The Maddox is more so a longer ranged weapon, but still can do very well up close. I feel like the Vapor is a little bit more mobile of a weapon, but still relatively in line, and therefore can more so be focused in close quarters and also medium ranges, but still can do well over time as well at that distance. The final thing we do have here is of course just connected to the attachments, that being primary gunfighter 1. Now, as for the final class setup that we'll talk about here today, this is the one that you might be thrown off a little bit with because I'm not much of a sniper, but I've been having a ton of fun with a sniper in this game. We're gonna be rocking the Paladin HB50 here at this one. And I do take a secondary of a pistol for the first time in absolute ages. I don't usually take pistols as secondaries, but because we're dealing with a bolt action sniper, if my first shot misses, which does happen quite a bit, I'm no Pomage, I'm no Sprat, where 99% of the time I'll hit that first shot. If that 50-50 toss-up comes down to where that enemy will still be alive and coming at me, the pistol will be a nice way to switch to this. But we end up running on this one the attachments of high caliber, FMJ, as well as stabilizer. Now high caliber has the ability to increase the damage from the stomach up. If you end up wanting to upgrade this a little further and use another attachment slot, high caliber 2, once you unlock that, increases the damage from the waist up, so it just increases that potential for the one-shot kill. FMJ will be able to shred through body armor and also improves your bullet penetration through walls and other objects as well. There is an FMJ2, which again, I haven't really used on any of my weapons, so the effectiveness and how much more it penetrates through walls and everything like that, I haven't really tested it out entirely, so full disclosure, my apologies on that for the kind of question mark on it, but I seem to be okay with just regular FMJ. And the final thing that we run here on this one is the stabilizer, which reduces the weapon sway when aiming. So while not every time you're gonna be quick scoping in and you might have an angle where you're gonna be able to predict where the enemies are coming from, of course that reduced sway is absolutely crucial and will allow your shot to hopefully be a little bit more accurate. Now we mentioned that we do run a pistol here at this one. I personally run the RK7 Garrison. I'm a fan of the burst pistols and have been for some time. The Strife, I'm not a huge fan of. It feels like just a marshmallow shooter most of the time. And the Mozu, what am I getting the operator mod for that to become a viable weapon of choice here? So the R7 Garrison is kind of that one that we're left with by default. Of course, we can use a shotgun of the MOG 12 or the SG12, but I'm not a huge fan of either of those as well. So for that, we will run the RK7 Garrison and we will resort back to it from time to time, and it will be something we use in the regular engagements. Now, I will probably pick up up another weapon on the ground if it is available, simply because, well, I don't have all the ammo in the world, and let's face it, a rifle, an LMG, an SMG, anything is better than a pistol in most engagements. But along with that, we also end up running again the acoustic sensor, giving us that extra knowledge and awareness and ability to hear our enemies coming further. For the perks, we run kind of an unconventional approach here for these. We run Dead Silence, which we've run on all the class setups so far. We run Gung Ho, which you can end up swapping out for Cold Blooded if you want to be a more so stealthy sniper, but we end up also running Flak Jacket instead of Scavenger or anything else. Now, Tac Mask is a great choice as well, but Flak Jacket I kind of do because I like to be in the thick of it. I like to be the more so mobile sniper. I like to be more so in the action with it. So if there's a grenade or a cluster grenade that pops my way, I should be able to make it out of there alive and then regroup and refocus up on the gunfight. So for that, Flak Jacket is the main tier 1 perk call on this one, but that rounds out the sniper class as well. We of course do have that wild card of Primary Gunfighter 1, but that's just natural and going to be there by default. But that said, that is our 3 classes, 2 rifles and 1 sniper rifle, kind of hitting the base on a couple of the main topics of gunplay within Black Ops 4. Of course, we didn't mention SMGs or LMGs, and none of the really secondaries were accounted for, save for the RK7 Garrison, but for that, we'll get to those later on in another video. I have so many class setups that I would definitely recommend here for you guys, so stick it right here up on the channel. We'll be keeping you guys up to date with all those in the coming days to weeks, but let me know your thoughts in the comments. Again, I'd love to get your feedback if you end up using these classes. How did you do here with it? Hopefully well. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Is there anything you guys would like to recommend, anything you would maybe alter with these classes? Feel free to let me know in the comments, but hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below. If you're also new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Black Ops 4, multiplayer, blackout, zombies. We got you covered here up on the channel. Best class setups, tips, tricks, news, information, updates, all that good stuff. We got you covered. So if any of that interests you, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected from outside of YouTube. Practically live on both those, so if you guys want to check those out, links in the description below. But all that said and out of the way, hopefully you guys have a fantastic day. Thank you all so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.